Our next session has the title of Driving Better Outcomes Through Data-Informed Experiential Learning at Seneca Polytechnic. And it is my pleasure to introduce Kshipra Kulkarni.
Hi, John.
Hello, Kshipra. I'm just going to read out your biography so everyone knows a little bit more about your background, but I'm delighted that you could join us today. Excuse me. Kshipra is a continuous improvement practitioner currently leading the CI space at Seneca Works, the Experiential and Work Integrated Learning Division at Seneca Polytechnic. She has worked on projects and process improvement initiatives with post-secondary institutions at UCL, London, University of Greenwich, also in London, York University, Toronto, and presently at Seneca Polytechnic in Toronto. Since moving to Canada, she has completed a black belt certification in Lean Six Sigma. Some of her recent projects include streamlining the regulatory, easy for me to say, reporting processes for unpaid work placements, collaborating with partners to develop AI-centric tools to create a career profile for students, and developing a tracker to systemize program review cycles. She has also worked on data analysis, reporting, and dashboard development, and enjoys learning ways to create workflow automations. She firmly believes in creating a balance between the responsible use of technology and human touch points as a foundation for continuous improvement. So with that, Kshipra, I'm handing over to you. Welcome once again.
Thank you so much, John. Thanks a lot. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to present today. I'm going to share my screen with the audience. Give me just one moment. John, could you just give me a thumbs up if you're able to see my screen?
Yep, all good.
Okay, great. So hello, everybody. My name is Kshipra Kulkarni, and John has already provided an introduction for me, so I won't introduce myself again. But I'm a continuous improvement manager at Seneca Works, and I'm currently an interim operations manager there. And my presentation today will focus on driving better outcomes through data-informed experiential learning. So this is all about how this is about describing our journey at Seneca and within our team on building data dashboards for work integrated learning and experiential learning. Before I start my presentation, I'm going to start with a land acknowledgement, as we always do here in Canada. To formally recognize and respect Indigenous peoples as the traditional stewards of the land and honoring their enduring relationships with their territory. Seneca's campuses are located on the lands stewarded by the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Wendat nations. We acknowledge Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of Credit First Nation, and the Williams Treaty, signed with multiple Mississauga and Chippewa First Nations. We are all interconnected as treaty people with shared obligation to learn, respect, honor, and sustain. Today, this land continues to be home for many diverse Indigenous people, including First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. We are grateful for the continuous unceasing Indigenous stewardship of these lands and waters. So this is a bit of an overview about what I would be talking about in my presentation today, mainly about the importance of data metrics in the WIL landscape. And when I say WIL, it stands for Work Integrated Learning. I work within the work integrated learning space, and my kind of projects focus on work integrated learning and experiential learning. So that's what I will kind of focus on today in terms of data-driven decision making. The journey from manual data reporting to dashboards, which is an ever-evolving process, as most of us know as lean practitioners, as process improvement practitioners, sharing data experience with others. So this is something that I really wanted to share with the rest of you here, and fostering environment of learning and continuous improvement. So how this kind of project helped our team foster an environment of continuous improvement within the team and across the board as well. This is a bit of an overview before I kind of delve into the data stuff. I know we have a lot of folks from outside of Canada. So just a quick introduction about the Canadian higher education landscape and the experiential landscape within Ontario, within Toronto, where Seneca is located. So some aspects of the Canadian higher education landscape Canada's higher education system is pretty diverse and robust and comprises of universities, colleges, and polytechnics. While universities focus on academic research-based degrees, colleges and polytechnics offer more career-oriented degrees and diplomas and applied training. There's a lot of multiculturalism within Canada, and that's one of Canada's greatest strengths is its multicultural environment. Campuses are vibrant with students from around the world, which fosters global perspectives and cross-cultural collaboration. Uh, Canadian institutions are globally recognized for high academic standards, rigorous quality assurance, and innovative teaching. Obviously, degrees from Canada are respected worldwide, and we have many institutions that rank among the top globally. In terms of experiential learning or opportunities beyond the classroom, this is a key feature of Canadian education, which is hands-on learning, and through co-op programs, internships, and research opportunities. These experiences bridge theory and practice and prepare students for real-world challenges. Some of the emerging themes that we've noticed over the last few years are the digitization and automation in everything we do. The nature of work is ever changing. Um, Institutions are integrating tech-driven tools. They're offering flexible learning and aligning programs with future-ready skills like AI, sustainability, and remote collaboration. Moving on to work integrated learning in Ontario itself. These are some of the kind of quick facts that nearly 50% of Ontario's post-secondary students take part in a work integrated learning or a WIL opportunity, be it a co-op, be it an internship or field placement. And faculty who teach a course with a WIL component are more likely to report that WIL should be increased. So there should be an increase in the number of co-op opportunities that higher education institutions offer within as a part of students' programs, academic programs. There's dedicated support for students to connect them with the right opportunities. This is something that's very essential in terms of work integrated learning. We have to have some kind of structure within the institution that provides dedicated support in terms of career advising, in terms of connecting them with employers, etc., and providing students with the right internships, right work integrated learning opportunities. There are also some challenges that have been seen in this regard, and some of them are quality of placement or work term opportunity, which means employers may not fully understand academic expectations or student capabilities. Some placements may prioritize more administrative tasks over skills development. There may be a lack of structure in the opportunity that has been provided. Then comes the number of placements per program. So it could be limited employer awareness or engagement with specific programs. Due to economic turndowns, there may be hiring freezes. There's pressure on staffs to secure last minute placements as well. In terms of maintaining employer relationships, employers may not see the long-term return on investment. In terms of co-ops, there might be increased workload to build relationships with the employers or vice versa with institutions. And these could and there could be staff turnover on either side that can disrupt continuity and stability between the relationships that higher education professionals create with the industry and with the employers. In terms of balancing experiential learning with classroom workload, there could be a lack of integration between faculty and work integrated learning teams. Students may not be adequately prepared for time management. So this is something that also need to be addressed by every institution. Moving on to who we are at Seneca Polytechnic. So I'm a part of Seneca Works, which is the work integrated learning or experiential learning arm at Seneca Polytechnic. And Seneca Works is kind of a brand in itself, in that we take pride in providing holistic support to the students in terms of their experiential journey, from workshops to career advising to supporting them in their job search. We have projects that we are running that focus on using or leveraging AI tools that enable students to create their career profiles and enhance their career journey. We also have experiential learning for all. That's kind of a goal for the institution, and it's a strategic goal. Therefore, we emphasize on students successfully completing at least one work experience to understand the industry and make informed decisions. And we also create supports and resources for lifelong learning. So our motto is a student is a student is a student. So therefore, the various new modes of learning, be it hybrid, be it online, be it classroom training, they've opened up a lot of avenues of learning, whether you're a student, whether you're a professional. So we kind of try and bridge that gap through programs and offering micro credentials for every point in a student's academic or professional journey. So that's what Seneca Works is all about. I will now kind of move into the real deal, the data stuff that I'd like to present you guys about. So basically, what problem are we solving was really the first question when we were looking at the amount of data we had and the amount of data reporting that we were doing in terms of providing insights to different user groups, different programs, chairs, program coordinators, etc. So we were looking at a solution where it could be holistic and it could um, answer questions without easily without for users. So there was a need to kind of find a long-term solution for our data needs, and it arose from a number of factors over a long period of time. So we kind of needed to establish the why before attempting this change. So the first kind of couple of questions we asked ourselves and the team is, what kind of data are we being requested, and what decisions will this dashboard support, or what decisions will this solution support really? um, Typically, in terms of what data we were being requested, was placement numbers. So total jobs secured per program, total jobs secured per term. We have something called self-secured jobs, which students find on their own. And when I use the word jobs, I really mean opportunities in terms of co-ops or internships or work placements. They are not really career jobs, so they're jobs related to work integrated learning specifically. Then quality indicators. These were also some insights that or metrics that we were asked to present. What is the student evaluation data looks like? Are the employers satisfied with the students the students working with them? Are the students satisfied with the employment opportunities that they're getting? Um, what is the employer engagement like? How many number of active employers do we have on the system? How many repeat employers do we have on the system? What's the sector distribution like? Then student outcomes, so number of applied students versus those who've secured an opportunity. So these were some of the questions that we kind of they were kind of common overall, which we saw we were answering. And then the next question was, what decisions will this dashboard support? So, or will this solution support? So one was program planning, so adjusting curriculum or placement timings based on trends. Resource allocation, so basically identifying programs that need more support or need more outreach to the employers, to the industry. Employer engagement strategy, so targeting sectors or employers with high impact. And student support services, so identifying students at risk or any student that needing intervention, um, and strategic reporting as well. The other thing was identifying the user groups. So who exactly would consume the data? Who are our users? Our biggest users are faculty members or academics. So they want to see how placements align with learning outcomes. Program coordinators, who are also academic members of staff, who need to track placement rates and employer feedback. Program chairs to advocate for resources and curriculum changes. And obviously senior leadership of the institution to focus on strategic outcomes, equity, etc. And each user group has different priorities. So the solution must be customizable or segmented to meet their needs. The other question that we also thought of was, or discussed, was what matters to the user? Are we gathering and presenting the data that actually matters, whether this is a viable long-term strategy? So does this need to meaningful placements for students? Are we meeting placement targets across programs? Are employers satisfied and returning? So these are some of the questions that we kind of asked ourselves and asked the team. Again, the viability of strategy is also based on the dashboard being sustainable with current resources. So during the project, we had quite a few resources who worked, quite a few. We had a team that worked on the project on building the dashboard, but it also depended on, once we're back to business as usual, whether the monitoring of the project was sustainable, monitoring of the dashboard was sustainable or not, and whether it could evolve with the changing program needs. Training on data interpretation and why it mattered. Uh, Even the best dashboard can be misused or misinterpreted or misunderstood. So people don't know what that means. So basically, clarifying what the dashboard or what the solution really means and what users need to look at. So these are the kind of questions that we thought of, and something that you could think of if you as an institution or as a team are looking to build um, something like a dashboard for your data metrics. So the first big step for us was, where do we start? And how did the idea of the data reports and dashboards actually come into picture? So some of the things, once we answered all the questions from the previous step, we actually moved to forming the idea of a dashboard in mind. But where do we start? And I think the most important thing to remember here is to start with what you know and what you're comfortable with, and then start with your immediate area of focus. So don't take don't do too many things at once. Just start with what you actually know, and that's how we kind of started it. For us, it was, what kind of questions and requests did we get on a regular basis? What do we typically report and have been reporting in the past? And the rest will obviously come later, once you actually start answering those questions. as a part of the dashboard. Some of the very common questions that we got was how many students are seeking versus how many students have secured jobs, how many employers post in a year, how many employers post in a semester, what is the ratio of job postings to total seeking students. So these were some of the questions, some of the um, data that we were being requested, and we wanted that was kind of the starting point for us. And it kind of then led to the ideation of creating a report for our current data and then also creating a report for our historical data. So bringing this obviously led to bringing multiple teams on board once we were kind of comfortable with the idea of building a dashboard. And as we all know, a dashboard development project cannot be completed in a silo. And for us, this meant getting the required buy-ins from various teams. So our primary stakeholder was the operations team within Seneca Works. The operations team works very closely to kind of refine the data, present the data. We have a data team which does all the data reporting for the rest of the institution. So the operations team works very closely with other teams and colleagues for information that's input into the system. And I will move to the data sources in my next slide. But we also wanted colleagues who actually input information to be on board with this, because data was impacted by information provided by Will staff, so Seneca Works staff, employers, and students. We also required buy-in from Seneca Works leadership. So we conveyed the value of a will-specific dashboard and emphasized on the metrics, because as we all know that a snapshot or a dashboard tells you the health of the program when it comes to the number of students on the program, how many are getting jobs, how many are deferring to another term, etc. So metrics are important. And finally, but not the least, the IT services team at our institution at Seneca Polytechnic, because they kind of helped us set up the integration pipeline to develop the dashboards. So we basically worked with two main data sources for our dashboard. We had to make sure that our data came from a single source of truth. The team came to the conclusion that integrating two sources of data to create visually appealing dashboards that answered our key questions was the most appropriate solution to the way we interacted with our job and student data. So the first one is our data within the WIL system, within the work integrated or experiential learning space that we've been using for quite some time now, and we work with a platform called Orbis, Orbis Communications. I'm not sure if people are familiar with it, but a lot of educational institutions across North America use Orbis, which has now been taken over by an American company called Simplicity. They got bought over a few years back. So, and they are basically a career service platform for higher education institutions. So that's what we work with. And the second kind of source of data was our student information system. So we needed to make sure that that the data is consistent. For example, Orbis has work term records from winter 2025 term, and they need to have the same information in the student information system. So basically cross-referencing and making sure that the data is accurate, and also making sure that the data is consistent across databases. One thing that I kind of missed on touching upon was that the information on Orbis has everything to do with our work integrated learning data. So everything from students' work term records, students' activities or engagement, employer information. We have our job board on it. We have job postings on it, work term records, etc. So everything to do with kind of experiential learning is what is housed within the first system. So once we looked at the data sources, we also had to kind of make sure that we consider data quality and data integrity. So what does it mean? This means basically defining and validating data rules. So setting clear guidelines for what data should be collected, how should it be formatted, what qualifies as valid data. So only active placements, for example, or verified employer contacts, etc. Then validating key attributes. So this involves checking that critical fields like student ID, program code, etc. They're present, they're accurate, they've been formatted correctly, they're consistent across systems. And why it matters is because these attributes are often used to filter data or group data or even report data. And if there are errors here, they can lead to misleading insights, basically. Resolving issues. So when data is missing or incorrect, there needs to be a process where we identify the issue, we correct it, and we prevent any recurrence of the same issue again. This could be done either as an automated system or a manual workflow. In terms of data integrity, it includes implementing controls, so strict access controls in terms of who has access to the data sources, whether validation rules in data entry forms, automated alerts for anomalies, etc. And why it mattered was because it helped catch errors early and maintain a high degree of data quality over time. The other couple of things we also had to consider was managing the data sources, so where the data is coming from and whether how often it's updated and who owns it. And consistency obviously is key because the same definitions and formats we had to make sure were being used across reports and dashboards, and data was being interpreted the same way across the board by all users. The next step was to choose the right tools and platform. Choosing the right platform or choosing a platform was pretty straightforward for us because Microsoft is used across the institution. We use Microsoft tools for pretty much everything we do at work. So it was kind of an easy answer to decide that we would use Power BI to host our reports. Also because it's easy to use. There's a lot of familiarity because staff members, faculty, users are very familiar with Microsoft tools, also in terms of viewing and navigation. And it's easy to export program-specific data. In terms of some of the automations that we also built in eventually as an improvement in the process was using Alteryx and Python. And we worked very closely with our IT services team to run the code to highlight any inconsistencies in data and flag them. And using Alteryx was kind of a game changer for us. For multiple job postings, so we have job postings which have multiple jobs within the same posting. So, for example, a bank posts a job and they will have several different postings within the same, several different jobs within the same posting. So we call them multiple job postings. We used Python to come up with a system to accurately count the number of job postings, and that significantly improved our accuracy rate. Earlier, this was all being done manually, and we were actually going into the system and counting how many jobs have been posted within a posting. But then once we moved to Python, we actually were able to achieve a 98% accuracy rate, so almost 100% accuracy rate. So other than that, in terms of building code and workflow, some of the things that we also looked at was um, if the criteria did not meet, is it flagging the issue, or if flags are coming back to us when we run the code on Alteryx, is the right investigation being done for that? We also did some audits, so also looked at what we missed or what kind of data was being fed into the system as well. So kind of a lot of detective work kind of going into the data cleaning part. So these are some of the challenges we faced when we were actually building the dashboard as a part of the project. And one of them was identifying what was needed, what were the actual metrics that were needed by the user group. Initially, there was a lack of clarity around which metrics were essential for decision making. And without clear goals or KPIs, data collection and analysis may have been misaligned with actual needs. So that was a big thing for us to make sure that we were actually presenting the right information on the dashboard. The other thing, in addition to presenting the right information, was too much information. So a lot of people wanted a lot of things, which created a lot of it looked very busy, to be honest. The dashboard looked very busy. It didn't look like a dashboard at all. So we realized that there was excessive or irrelevant data which was overwhelming the users. A lot of them did not need a lot of that data, so we had to really trim down and actually look at um, the real numbers that, or the insights that users wanted to look at to increase the effectiveness of the dashboard. Not being user friendly for mobile users. So that was one thing that we had not really looked at, but then we considered, because a lot of people look at these things using their mobile phone. So the interface had to be user friendly, which was one of the challenges that we had actually not considered earlier, but then it did come up eventually. Insufficient training. So users were not adequately trained on how to use the dashboard. We did run some trainings initially, but then we realized that there was more that was needed. We probably made it the assumption that, well, they know that because they've done it before, but they were more used to looking at spreadsheets. They were not used to looking at visualizations and something like a dashboard. And finally, data entry errors while processing data. So this was more to do with people who actually worked on the data sources. And we realized that a lot of people or a lot of staff members did not know how to accurately input data, which was leading to manual input mistakes. And that sort of popped up when we started using Alteryx, where it used to flag up saying, this does not look right, you need to correct it. So missing fields, incorrect formats, that sort of compromised the accuracy and reliability, which we had to correct. So where we are at right now, where are we now? So we've been reviewing the challenges and working on addressing them. We've been addressing pain points of inconsistent data. Um, we've been prioritizing solutions based on impact, based on feasibility. We've been collaborating across teams. So the IT department, employers, academics, etc., to implement these fixes. And why it really matters is because it has ensured that the dashboard and data processes evolve to meet actual needs of the users. We've also put in standardized definitions across the board to avoid confusion. What we realized, and this has happened in some of my previous projects as well, where definitions have not been standardized and people end up not knowing what something means. So there has to be a shared language across the board. For example, terms like what is a placement, or what is a self-secure job, or what does an active employer mean, things like that. So ensuring all stakeholders interpret data the same way. And why it matters is because without standard definitions, data can be misinterpreted, leading to inconsistent reporting and decisions. The other thing we, sorry, the other thing we did was to create SOPs. So standard operating procedures was important. Setting them up was important. And again, creating shared language, um, and basically showing how to kind of go about um, interacting with the dashboard for users, and also for those who set up the dashboard and who were actually at the back end to understand how the dashboard works. So from both ends, really, we set up SOP documentation. And finally, improved visualization and user interaction. So this kind of focuses on making dashboards more intuitive and visually clear, and allowing users to customize their views according to what they wanted to see, because a lot of faculty, a lot of academics only wanted to see program data. So kind of training them on how they can customize the dashboard to only see program specific data for their own programs. And good design obviously improves engagement, which we kind of saw over time once we started improving our visualization and improving the insights that we actually showed on the dashboard. In terms of continuous improvement itself, we've been continuously monitoring the dashboard since we launched. We had a soft launch a few months back, where we let a small group of people to actually work with the dashboard, provide us feedback. And we've been flexible and adapting to changing business needs. So we know that we need to accommodate any future changes and represent our current state accurately. So we know that we should not be going and changing anything at source. That cannot be changed, because that will show up on the dashboard incorrectly if it's not accurate data. We've been conducting data workshops with staff and various user groups, and this has really helped us kind of communicate and spread the message about the usage of the dashboard. We now have periodic reviews. So we have a periodic review once every semester, where we kind of regroup and talk about how it's been, how the response has been, how the user engagement has been. Constant testing and validation. We have a data team which constantly tests and validates this data. Just as a side note, we do not have an overnight kind of update of data. It's something that we have to do. Currently, we've been doing it manually, and we are looking at every semester, and we are looking at a solution where we can actually have an overnight update of the dashboard. And finally, I'd say keep it simple. If you overcomplicate it, it just gets messy. So if you're building a dashboard, I would say just keep it simple and keep it basic, so that your user groups are able to actually engage with it and don't feel frustrated if it's not working for them. So some of the key takeaways from this kind of project that we undertook was that we need to understand that process improvements and changes take time. So this is not an overnight process. There are a lot of moving parts. It takes time to kind of see that improvement through an initiative like this. You might not see it in the same semester, but you might actually start seeing the changes in the next semester, which is how we kind of started seeing those improvements now. Focus on the metrics that matter most to your user groups. Don't go out of focus or out of scope. focus on what your user groups want and kind of show them what they want. Monitoring data quality is key. So data quality obviously is a very integral part of building a data dashboard. So make sure that the data is accurate, the data is consistent, and the quality is always maintained. So have steps put in place or have a structure put in place that enables you to monitor your data quality. Keep the dashboard relevant and visualizations easy to digest. So making sure that the dashboard is showing the most relevant data, the most updated data, and your visualizations, your visuals are easy to understand. They're not too complicated. They don't have um, too many things within just one visual, which makes it confusing for people to understand them. Avoid jargon or include quick notes or pop-ups to understand any technical terms. I understand we can't do away with all the jargon, so there might be some technical terms that you may have to use on your dashboards. If you do, um, definitely add quick notes or pop-ups so that people who may not necessarily be acquainted or familiar with those terms actually know what it means when they're reading the data. And keep your dashboards dynamic. This is mostly to do with keeping the dashboards relevant. Make sure that they are equipped to any changes that happen over a period of time during the semester. The metrics might change, the requirements might change. So keep your dashboards dynamic. Finally, as a team, it kind of taught us about building systems that work, data that makes sense, and tool that helps people make confident decisions. So that's kind of my presentation, and I kind of hope that it kind of gave you an idea of how we built our dashboard and how the journey was like for us. And I'm happy to take any questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Kshipra. That was a fascinating insight into your work with data dashboards, that single source of truth, which we're all searching for. So excellent. Thank you very much for that. We've literally got 2 or 3 minutes for questions before we move on to the next session. We've got a couple in the chat. The first one is, could you provide, from Ricardo, could you provide more details about how you worked with EL data analysis teams and SMEs to create metrics and dashboards in a collaborative effort?
That's a good question, Ricardo. So I am a part of the EL team and basically the wider Seneca Works team, which includes work integrated learning and experiential learning. So we have systems that store data already. Like I mentioned, we work very closely with Orbis, which is kind of a single source of truth in terms of any work integrated learning data. And in terms of how we worked with other teams is that we also have a data team within Seneca Works who actually pulls reports for different programs. We have program quality reports that we have to present. So basically working with that's how we kind of worked with them and came to a decision that instead of manually pulling the data, it made more sense for us to educate other people or user groups to view that data as a part of a dashboard and kind of they don't have to rely on a different team to pull data for them and analyze it for them. So it kind of required a bit of change management as well when we spoke to user groups, including program coordinators, chairs, academics, etc. Does that kind of answer your question?
Well, I think with the yes, there we go. Yes is in the chat.
Okay.
Happy with that answer. Thanks very much. So next one is how long did it take? What was the total time from project initiation, inception, through to delivery of the initial dashboard? Roughly how long did that take?
This took us about 8 to 10 months. So it started last year, and we had a project team for this. So we had people from our data team. So we had data coordinators. We had a couple of data analysts who kind of specifically worked on the dashboard. We also had a person from a couple of people from our IT services team who supported us with coding, with Python and Alteryx, which was really important. And we also had people from within the work integrated learning team who were kind of advisors, who were there in an advising capacity for us to understand what exactly is the data that we are pulling, what are we looking for, and how do we kind of visualize that data and put that on the dashboard. So it took us about it took us about 8 to 10 months to kind of come up with a dashboard, which was early this year. And since then, we've been using the dashboard to pull reports, or even we just let people actually view the data that they want to, and they can pull reports or export information themselves. And that is how it has been. But as I mentioned in my presentation, currently we update it manually every semester. But we are looking at options to actually automate the updates, kind of have overnight updates or a way to kind of update it automatically. Excellent.
Thank you very much. And I think you answered the last question as well about people being able to tailor the dashboards to pull information. So that's fantastic. Listen, thank you very much indeed for taking the time today to share your experience and your learnings. Fascinating stuff. And hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. So thank you very much indeed.